That's a really good question. So that's a big, there are a lot of answers to that. The first thing I'm going to say is this. I may have mentioned this yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. But in the introduction of the Practical Life album, there's a little thing about SPD, which is a sensory processing disorder. So there is a little bit of information about that. I was talking to Father Chikere a couple of days ago, and I sent him a document on that. And he was like, oh, this is so interesting. Please tell them about that. And I said, well, Father, I think I'm going to start with kind of like the normally developing child. That's typically what we do. We talk about how we give lessons to, how we run things for typically developing children. And then afterwards, we'll talk about special situations like sensory processing or this or that. I would say, Sister, that the first thing to think about when you have a child who's restless, which is what you're talking about, right? Okay, I just want to confirm that you're speaking about a restless child. There are tons of reasons why that child could be restless. So the first thing we do, which when I get over there, I put on my apron, you're going to see, you're going to observe and write down when this child is restless. Are they restless all day long? Are they restless when they say goodbye to their parent or their mother and get dropped off? Are they restless during work cycle? Are they restless, you need some information. We haven't even talked about that. Maria Montessori calls this a scientific pedagogy. She was a medical doctor, trained as a scientist to observe. That's why observation is so huge, okay? So huge to our practice, so vital, so crucial. So I would observe, what is it, okay? So typical things that we see in our culture, I have no idea here. The first question when I see a child that has some difficulty, usually in restlessness or hyperactivity, is I ask, what is the food that this child is getting? Because in our culture, it's really easy to get really bad food that has a lot of chemicals, processed junk food is what we call it, okay? I know, believe it or not. It's all over the place. And it's cheap. So very often, unfortunately, people of low means or few means, they have to buy cheap food, which is not good quality food. So my experience, I look first at the food. What is the food that this child is getting? Are they getting enough? Are they getting good quality food? Because what we put in our bodies is so impacts what we do, right? So then I would just check some other physical, just look at the very concrete first, okay? Can this child ever sit still? When are the times that they sit still? Okay, I would probably invite the child to have one-on-one. I would sit down with them or go for a walk with them. So there are lots of disorders that manifest in different ways. And believe it or not, hyperactivity it's kind of like a reverse of what the brain is trying to find a calm state, but it's neurologically messed up. And so it processes all this information and makes them, run like an engine. It just runs like an engine, never stops, Really, it's because the child desires to and wants neurologically, the brain thinks that they need to do all this stuff, but really they need to find a way to calm down.